we elevate our economic thinking and take our minds to the next level. And I hope everybody's having a great day. I'm feeling good. I went to the gym this morning. Every day, every day is a battle. Every day is a decision, right? Am I going to decide to take the hardworking route or the lazy route? Am I going to be the hardworking voice or the lazy voice? Well, I think today I was the hardworking voice. So I got up this morning and went to the gym, and and I'm glad I did it. All right. So anyway, how's everybody doing today? How are your stocks? I can tell you the stock market is really, really throwing some temper tantrums, and so these are those times like the New Edition song, or it wasn't New Edition, it was Belle Biv DeVoe. No, wait, no, it was New Edition. Remember, sunny days, everybody loves them. But tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? So right now it's kind of raining in the stock market, but we don't worry about rain. We just bring our raincoats and prepare for the sunshine. And so just know that typically the stock market, when there is a dip, there is a recovery. And just to kind of give you a quick overview, basically there's a lot hanging out, hinging this week on decisions by the Federal Reserve regarding interest rates. They're going to make some announcements. They're not just going to make the announcement about what they're going to do with interest rates. They're going to give guidance on what they're seeing and what they're thinking, and so, so people are going to be listening really carefully to the Fed Chair Jay Powell. He's kind of like remember those commercials of E.F. Hutton? How many of y'all remember E.F. Hutton? When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. That was a great campaign, by the way. So when Jay Powell talks, people listen. So people are going to be listening to his words very carefully, analyzing every part of his speech to see what they think is going to happen with interest rates. And right now, the economy is still pretty strong, and that's confusing. And inflation is pretty resilient, which is also confusing. So a lot of these uncertainties are causing your stocks to drop. And if you're a believer long term in the stock market, then this is a great time to jump in and start buying. If you're not sure how to buy, we did that event on for stock market for beginners last week. You can probably access the recording of that event. In fact, I'll try to find it if you guys want to get the recording of it. It was really good. A lot of you loved it, and we really literally walked you right through the whole process of buying stock and stuff like that. And the materials are yours for life. I'll try to pull up the link. So you guys can go take a look if you'd like to get a copy of it. So anyway, with that being said, the other thing about investing, just as in terms of things that are on my mind, in case you don't know, what we do is we kind of do literally a stream of consciousness in financial consciousness training, where I just sort of talk about what's on my brain when it comes to economics. So one of the biggest things about investing is a lot of people have this misperception that once you become an investor, that it's just going to be raining money every day, and everything's going to be easy peasy, and money's always going to flow into your pocket and not never out of your pocket. Well, that's not true. One of the things about investors is that they understand that sometimes you're going to be receiving money, sometimes you're going to be letting money go. And that's a difference in mindset. That's a difference in financial consciousness. Because when you are getting a paycheck, you have money coming in, and then you have expenses, to live your life. But it's not as if you have to pay thousands of dollars to keep your job or buy extra uniforms and supplies for your work. Your job kind of handles that. So the way money flows is kind of different. So investors have to understand an economic concept called smoothing means that when it's time to feast, you kind of pull back a little bit. You store your nuts for the winter, but when everybody else is booming, you're chilling because you're preparing for the fact that winter is always coming. So then when winter arrives, you're not freezing out the way some other people might be if they did not prepare. So right now, winter could be coming. The stock market's been feeding a lot of you for quite a while, for several months. Right now, it looks like there's some shaky ground here. And but then again, the problem is the reason you can't just pull back is because you don't know when it's going to end. You don't know when the sun's coming back out. So you kind of have to be consistent with your strategy. So don't be scared. Don't be scared. Another quick reminder: don't forget the All Black National Convention's happening in October 25th through the 27th in Lombard, Illinois, right outside Chicago. We don't have a lot of spaces for, say, panelists and speakers, but one thing I did tell my team yesterday is I said that I want to reach out to those who attend Money in the Morning, those who are consistently supportive of the Black Business School, or for example, those of you that are in the Prime program, stuff like that. And I'm going to give you guys first dibs to apply to be speakers at the convention. So if you have a brand or a type of expertise, or you think that you would fit for the convention, you guys will get the application first. You'll get the first opportunity to apply, and then we might consider reaching out to the general public. One thing about the convention is that we don't care about celebrities. We don't care about people. You're not important just because white people put you on TV. They put clowns on TV. They put idiots on TV. So why would we care if white people put you on TV? What I care about is whether or not you have solutions that can benefit the community, and they're based on something that is applicable and sound and solid. So, for example, last year we had Dr. Mary Stoddard, who spoke at the convention. Let me tell you about Dr. Mary Stoddard and why we were eager to invite her and why I want to invite her back. Dr. Mary Stoddard is a person who defies everything that you've ever been taught regarding the limitations of Black people. Everything that you get taught about social policies and programs and Black people being ignorant and disadvantaged and weak and pathetic and incapable of accomplishing anything without the help of white folks, Mary defies all that. Let me explain why. Mary was born poorer than every single person in this room. I bet you she was born. I think the seventh. She was like the 16th or 17th child in her family, and they were all sharecroppers in the South. And despite all that, her parents, who didn't have hardly any money, got every single one of their children through college. Every single one of them graduated from college. And like, but that's not possible. Poor Black people can't succeed. They can't even read. Right? That's what they tell you in the Chicago public school. We don't know. We can't figure out how to get these Negroes to read or write or do math. And so they got to go to, they got to go to McDonald's, and they got to show them pictures of the food so they know how much a cheeseburger costs. That's how they see us. They see us as these literally just incredibly unintelligent, almost like animals. I really believe that they look at us like this. And then it doesn't help when we promote animal-like behavior in media, or you listen to hip-hop music. Anybody listen to rap music lately when they got into that mumble rap? Where it's like, right? That's how they see us, right? So anyway, Mary's whole family graduated. Every one of her siblings all finished college. So like, how does this family in poverty all get all their kids through college? Well, they were creative. They did models that are similar to the things I talk about in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. They basically said, ain't nobody gonna save us. We're not gonna sit around and wait for Superman. If we don't do it, nobody else will. And they put a system in place where every child that into school helped the one behind them. And that was your obligation. That was your obligation. That's called family. That's called community. That's called people working together. You didn't have, like, there was no tolerance for somebody who said, "Well, I ain't got to think about it. I ain't screw them little kids. I ain't got to worry about nobody but myself." I guess no, that wasn't allowed. If once you got to college, you sent money back to help get the next one into school, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So then let me tell you, and I'm not done with Dr. Stoddard. This is just a prototype of the types of people that we bring to the convention. These are the scholars that I'm looking for. These are the experts that impress me. These are the Black leaders that you never hear about because you're so busy being distracted by rappers who can't even spell their mama's names. Dr. Stoddard grows up, and she then goes and she goes to school and gets a PhD and a JD because she's very big on education. In fact, she was such a serious student that when she finished her law degree, she had a baby on Tuesday and was able to walk across the stage, I believe, the same day that she gave birth, and even though her school was 75 miles away from the hospital. Now, it was either the same day or the next day. I hope it's the next day. The next day sounds human. The same day sounds superhuman, but she's got it like that. That whole strong Black woman thing, she embodies that. Right, just you want it, you go get it, you make it happen. She did that. I believe she actually walked the same day. Here's the third thing that Dr. Stoddard did, and I just have to mention this. These are the people who need to be famous in our community, not goofballs on TV who tell jokes and stuff. Third thing is she had 5 kids. She didn't marry a buffoon. She didn't go get pregnant by a rapper. She chose a quality man to marry by the name of Dr. Marcus Stoddard. Dr. Stoddard, who also grew up without many resources, eventually became one of the best cardiologists in the country, if I'm not mistaken. He's on the faculty at the University of Louisville. So Dr. Stoddard and her husband, the other Dr. Stoddard, they had 5 children. And when they and the 5 children they had, every one of them became a medical doctor or a PhD. All 5. Every single one of those kids became a medical doctor and a PhD. And the reason I know Dr. Stoddard is because when my sister was going to medical school, Dr. Stoddard worked hard to help my sister get her applications together so she could get into medical school. So she didn't just get her children over all these humps and systems and problems, she helped other people's children too. Now, why do I bring up Dr. Stoddard today when we're talking about financial consciousness? Well, I bring her up because the solutions are out there. The solutions are out there. And the reason we don't see the solutions is because we are distracted by the nonsense. We're distracted by things that do not work. We spend so much time talking about things that don't work that we don't pay any attention to the things that do. If I was running this country, Dr. Mary Stoddard would be the most famous person in America. I would say she is the czar of education and everything else. We moving past all this Democrat Party BS. We're moving past all this Republican Party BS, and we're gonna really talk about solving a damn problem. The solutions are out there. How in the hell did this lady, again, with all of the oppression and all the things, all the traps, how did she raise these 5 children to all become medical doctors? How did every single one, 100% success rate in her family of every single child in the sharecropper family all finished college? How did she do that? I mean, Lord, if you watch TV, you would think at least one of them would have got shot by the police, or you would think at least one of them would end up on crack. At least a couple would end up pregnant at the age of 12, or at least two or three of them would be working at Burger King and it's learning how to read at the age of 30. I mean, really, if you look at Chicago public schools, that's the standard that they set. And I'm gonna tell you what curses us is as black people is we get cursed because you're running up behind, and I'm sorry, I can't say it any way other than the truth. You're running up behind these damn white folks who are telling you how to educate your kids, who are educating your children for you and doing it wrong. They're doing it wrong. They're taking all the money, our taxpayer money, and they're doing it wrong. And they're doing it wrong on purpose. They're deliberately doing it wrong. And then our kids graduate, and your daughter can't find a quality husband because he spent all his time rapping and playing basketball instead of learning an adequate skill, and all hell breaks loose later on for the children. The next generation's screwed because the baby comes into the world looking for guidance, looking for hope, looking for a plan, and all they got is a daddy who sits and smokes weed all day, and a mama who don't need no man, and 2 parents who can't get along for 10 minutes, and it's hell for that child. It's absolute complete hell. It becomes hell because you have no structure. It becomes hell because you have no plan. Your community's dying in a car crash because you're letting somebody else take the wheel. You're letting the drunk driver drive the car, and you and your family are in it, and you're sitting there because you trust these folks to do critical things for you that you should be doing for yourself. And this is the only way I can see it. So if you want to know who my heroes are people like Dr. Marva Collins. How many of y'all know about Dr. Marva Collins? Anybody remember Dr. Marva Collins? Give me a yes if you remember this wonderful lady. I think she passed away. But Marva Collins, you know what she did? I gotta go read her story in detail. One day we should just sit and read her story because these are the people that need to be famous in the community. She started a school in the projects in Chicago. She said, forget the public schools. I'm gonna start a school and right where I stand. She didn't wait for 10 million in funding. She didn't wait for a government grant. She didn't wait for AT&T to sponsor everything. She didn't wait for the Democratic Party to give her what she needed. She just started right where she was and ran one of the best educational institutions on this earth. This is the black magic that I want us to tap into. This is the greatness. I'm sitting here talking to you, and you can't tell me that the Black Business School is not the number one institution on the planet when it comes to helping families understand Black wealth. You can't tell me. You couldn't convince me that in a million years that that is not true. I don't need nobody to validate me. Why the hell am I looking to be validated by inferior people? Why would I want validation from people who are doing it wrong? I don't want validation. I don't need no recognition. I don't need none of that because I know what we got right here. So part of drilling in and finding your black magic is you got to believe that it's there. You got to know what you have access to. You got to know what you got. You got to understand. You got to sit back and really meditate on and appreciate the wisdom of some of the people that are sitting right next to you. I know you. I meet you all. Some of you are like these amazing school teachers who are just going above and beyond for the children every day. Some of you have adopted kids that are not even your own, and you're teaching them the best you can. Some of you are running around and telling everybody the stuff that you are learning in this room. Some of you are leading in your church and saying, "Hey, we got to get our economics together." Like to me, though, those are the heroes. That's our secret sauce. That's our way out. That's our solution. That's the answer. It is not some some social program created by the Democratic Party. It's not. and, and the show is hell ain't too many solutions in these public schools. These public schools are terrible. Now, before I move on, let me remind you, if you're not on the text list, get on the text list so I can remind you when we do Money in the Morning. We do this every single morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Just text the word morning to 87948, MORNING. Text morning to 87948. Also, tonight, Wednesday nights, we do Powernomics training where we actually go through Dr. Claude Anderson books. I talked to Dr. Anderson yesterday. He sends his regards. He gives us complete blessing for what we're doing. And tonight, we're going to actually go through his book, The Black History Reader. And his question is, should blacks form and support their own independent national political party? So we're going to read this in the book, The Black History Reader, and I'm going to kind of break this down and kind of give a perspective. We do this every Wednesday. We've been doing this for about 5 years now, I'm going to guess. And so if you'd like to join us for that, that's free to the public. You can just text the word greatness, all one word, greatness to 87948. If you text greatness to 87948, I'll send you an invitation to that, and you can join us. You can get free access to the live class and stuff like that as well. All right, so with that said, let me expand the conversation a little bit, and I want to talk about something that I know a lot about, and that is college. This was on my mind today because you guys know I've been a college professor a long time. I've taught at a lot of different universities, Ohio State, Syracuse, etc. And I have always been a big believer in college, and we've addressed this a little bit before, so I'm going to address it in a slightly different way. But anyway, in fact, I was such a big believer in college that I literally my first book was called Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About College, and I literally, when I became a professor, I said maybe black students can succeed in college much easier if I, as a professor, simply tell them everything that your professor's thinking. Like I can say, oh, this is really what they mean, and this is really what's going on. That way, you're not going into college confused, right? So, if you have kids going to college, the book is out there. It's on Amazon. Feel free to go grab a copy of that. Now, even though I'm a big believer in college for sure, I remember I got a little bit. I was curious today. Let me tell you what made me curious. So I was in the gym and I was on the treadmill. Now I do not run fast on the treadmill. I run about as fast as a fat slow person on a lazy day. Like that's how I really am not. I would not impress you in the gym, but I was there, and that's the goal, right? To just show up every day. So I'm on the treadmill, and they got all these TVs up there, and I'm watching all the different TV screens and checking out the sports over here. They always show Family Matters on another channel, and then I see the Chicago news, which is typically filled with teenagers shot in their house. That was literally one of the stories. 7-year-old girl shot on her tricycle, or her bicycle. All the typical news stories that we ignore because white people told us to only pay attention to George Floyd. But anyway, that was me being a smart aleck because it pisses me off, to be honest with you. So I'm watching this segment, and they show a lot of really happy teenagers, because now is the time for the prom and graduation and all that. And they were really happy because in this school, apparently, I don't know have the name of the school, but every single kid it got accepted into college. And they were really excited about it, really proud. They were jumping up and down and dancing, and I was really happy for them too. I thought that was a remarkable achievement. But a thought went through my head, and I thought to myself, I said, am I going to have to be the a hole who steps in and says that you have to be really careful because half of your kids might be falling into a trap? Not all of the kids. This is the nuance of college. Not all the kids are falling into a trap, but about half of them are. And let me tell you why I say half of them and not all of them. Half of Did y'all know this? If you've been hanging with me long enough, you probably heard me mention this. Did you know that half of all black college graduates default, they can't even repay their student loans? How many of y'all knew that? How many of y'all knew that? Half. See, we wonder, like, there's a big mystery, like, where did all the black wealth go? How's black wealth going down? We don't know. Well, if your best and your brightest are gonna die in debt, that's not exactly gonna improve your net worth. Dying in debt does not make your net worth go up. It does not help your estate plan. Okay. So half of all black college graduates can't even repay their student loans. That's just a fact. And I'm talking about the graduates. I'm not talking about the fact that the overwhelming majority of black people that go to college, I want to say at least half of them don't finish. I'm talking about the ones who made it. I'm talking about the successful. I'm talking about the talented 10th, right? So if you're a talented 10th, if you have a community, process this for a minute. Let's meditate on this. Let's do a financial consciousness exercise here. You have a community where you're waiting for them to elevate economically, and so you look to the best and the brightest, the hope for the future, the smartest ones, and you find out that the best and the brightest can't even repay their student loans, that half of them can't. What hope is there for the community? Because everybody else is doing worse than them, or so to speak, right? I mean, really, if it's is it better to graduate from college or to only go to college and not finish, or to have a GED, right? So the idea that half of all black college graduates default on their student loans should be very alarming to you if you have a concern about the fact that black wealth is expected to drop to zero by the year 2053. Right? This explains it. This is the leak. You have a bucket where wealth is like water being put in a bucket, and people say, well, if you're putting water in the bucket, why is the bucket going to end up empty? Well, because obviously the bucket has a hole in it. One of the holes is student loans, because we have this crazy system where it's like we literally consider like our next logical step after finding our most talented people is to get them to go and give $200,000 to white people to get an inferior education. That's the first goal. Go find the closest white man you can find and give him $200,000 of your family's wealth that you don't even have yet, and he's going to give you a certificate that gives you it's almost like those workers passes, like, or like a little back in the day when they said, do you have your papers, right? So you get your papers, which get allows you to be passed around to another white man to go work for him, and so, and you now have this license to go work, to go from one place that's going to exploit you to some extent and to another place that's going to exploit you until death, right? Because we all know, we've talked about this economically, that American workers are not the wealth builders in this country. They're not the ones who are doing well. The people that are doing well, the people at the top. They're the owners. They're the people that own land and property and businesses and stock and all that. Those are the ones who are building the wealth. Workers are not so much in that category. A lot of workers don't even have enough money to retire. So here's what I want to kind of lay out, and I want to nuance this carefully, because what happens is that I forgot that, what, somebody said something really interesting to me that really made me think. They said back in high school, they used to separate the like the slower kids from the middle kids and the advanced kids. You would be in different classes, so you interact with people that are like yourself. And they said, but on the internet, there's no separation. So when the advanced kids are talking to the slow kids, it becomes very frustrating for everybody, right? And so in a way, so what happens is that when I say something, I'm talking to you guys. You guys, in my mind, are the advanced kids, because you want to be smart, you want to learn, you want to grow. Well, sometimes slow kids will pick up what we say and they'll run around and they'll say something like, Dr. Boyce is out telling black people not to go to college. Or Dr. Boyce is telling black people not to vote. It's like when I never told black people not to vote, I never told black people not to go to college. I'm saying that there is a nuance to it that has to be considered, right? There has to be a serious conversation about what college does for us and what it does not do for us. So as I was seeing these happy young people, all excited because they all got their scholarships and stuff, I was super happy for them. But I remember thinking, I hope that we don't forget that these young people are black. And I hope we don't forget that in addition to going to college, I really need all these kids to learn three things. I need them to learn how to start a business and be good at it, like really to the point where they can establish relationships with other people that they went to school with so they can build these businesses together. That's the pathway to wealth. I really hope that you're teaching them about real estate and ownership of property and how to acquire land and property, which tends to go up in value naturally, which allows you to make money without working for it. And then I hope that they teach them to participate in the stock market, which is the greatest wealth creation vehicle in the history of this country, which millions of people miss out on because nobody told them about it, right? If they do those three things, then I don't care if you go to college or not. It's fine. Even if college doesn't work out for you, doesn't give you what you want, you can make up for it. You can quit that stupid job and go start your business with your homeboys and everything's good. Or you get fired on your day off, like a lot of black men do, even those that are educated. Well, it's okay. You get together with you because you are trained on how to build healthy relationships with others. You are then able to reach out to your numerous friends and say, hey, you know what? I spent 10 years with this company. Now it's time for me to strike out on my own. And then next thing you know, you're building something amazing. The whole time you've been acquiring stock in real estate and you've been doing that on your own behalf and also on behalf of your children. So that is where you're creating your financial security. A college degree does not give you financial security. A college degree does not give you financial security. A college degree does not give you financial security. It does not. It gives you a piece of paper that says that you spent 4 years at somebody's institution. The standards are not that high. The standards are not that high. When I was at Syracuse, it was really hard for us to fail a student. My wife complains about it all the time. My buddy, Dr. Tommy Whitler, who teaches at DePaul University, said he's stunned by the fact that if he tries to give a student a D or an F, even if they never came to one single class, the administration will fight him back. Well, why is that? Well, because a lot of universities have sold out for the money. That's why you see, for example, all these protests that are happening. They're coming into Columbia and beating the students up. The NYPD is beating them upside the head because they're protesting. Well, because they got this Israeli money or Zionist money that is driving university policy, right? So they sold out for the money, and also they're not necessarily. It's not a place where you're going to be hit with all these super rigorous standards that are going to push you to a higher level. That's something that you're going to have to choose to do on your own. That level of excellence, black excellence, has to be a choice that you make as an individual. There aren't many places out here that are going to force you to be excellent enough to accomplish your goal. In fact, I will just say this. This is going to sound weird. I hope I say it in the right way where it doesn't get misinterpreted. But honestly, one of the best things that ever happened to me was to be mistreated in a racist society. The best thing that ever, the thing that sharpened my knife the most was when I realized white folks don't love me, and even a lot of black folks don't love me. Even my own daddy didn't love me, right? Which sounds really sad, but what it does is there's an other side to that. There's another side to the challenge. There's another side to the pain. The other side of that is that you say, well, my daddy didn't love me, but I can love me. White folks don't love me, but my mama loves me, right? And maybe you're not gonna give me nothing, but oh wait, I can go get it myself. See, y'all don't understand that. We too busy spoiling these damn kids and preventing them from any form of discomfort that they don't ever learn the thrill of figuring out how to do it on their own. Seriously, do you know how many young black boys I know who literally can't do anything at the age of 22 and have no ambition at all because mama did everything for them their whole entire life? What kind of husband can that man be? What kind of father can he be? What kind of man, what kind of character is he going to show when life gets hard? Because it's going to get hard and it's going to crush him. It's going to crush him. So, really, again, my other hero, I have lots of heroes that are in this room. My other hero are the parents who understand the balance and the nuance that you can't just make things easy for these kids all the time. You got to let them go through something. So, let me tell you what my parents let me go through. It wasn't because they were wise. Maybe they were being selfish. I have no freaking clue. But you know what they told me when I left the house? They sent me to college. My parents sent me money 2 times. They sent me 2 checks for $25 in 4 years. I got 2 checks for 20. That was all I got. And then one time I think they loaned me $200, but I had to pay it back. That was all I ever got. That's crazy. That's sad. I've told people that story, and they're like, "Oh, that's so abusive. That's so mean." And I'm like, "Yeah, I thought it was mean, especially when I told my mother I didn't have any money for food, and she said, 'Well, you better get you a job.'" Right? Like, who says that? That's terrible, right? What kind of mother are you, right? And I'm still mad at her for that. But let me tell you what happened though. After got over myself and stopped feeling sorry for myself, you know what I did? I went out and I made something happen. Right. And maybe some people don't respond that way. Maybe some people, the life gets hard. They just buckle and fold and go jump off a building, go start smoking crack. I don't know. But I wasn't built that way. I was like, well, okay, I guess I got to find a way to make this happen. And you know what happened? Here's what happened. Once I got a job and I made my own money, I really liked the idea of being free. Not just free from racism and oppression, but just free from even my parents. And me and my mama had a hard conversation. One time she tried to tell me what to do or something, and I said, "You can't tell me what to do. You don't pay no bills in my house." No, I was we did it over the phone because I didn't want to get all my teeth smacked out that day. But still, but that was the discussion. It was like, no, I'm a grown man now, and you couldn't argue with me because I was really doing grown man stuff. Because you have a lot of people that think that they're grown men, but they're really not. They think they're grown because they have beards or they have sex with women and stuff, but they're not grown men. They can't even do basic things that grown men can do. But at 19, I can say, yeah, I'm a grown man because I pay my own bills, right? And you control nothing in this space, and so I like that freedom. And then here's the other thing too. I found out that by working hard I could have more money in my pocket than I could by doing what my friends are doing, which is sitting around waiting for their parents to send them a little measly welfare check. So your mama's sending you $100 a week or $80 a week. I had hundreds of dollars in my pocket at all times because I learned how to make my own money. And then I started getting creative. I started a business. I started tutoring. It was mostly the white kids because they had the money. My black friends were all broke. And I would tutor the white kids. I would hang out at the computer lab. We would all get the same assignment. That we would get an assignment on Monday, and we'd have to turn it in the following week. But different students had the class on different days. So I got mine on Monday. I would learn how to do it really fast, and then I would hang out in the computer lab looking for people who did exactly what college students do, which is procrastinate. They would always wait till the last minute and they wouldn't know what to do and they'd be stressing out. And I would walk up and I'd say, "Hey, you need some help?" And they say, "Yeah, I don't know what to do." I'd say, "Okay, just give me $10 and I'll help you." And they would, and they because I guess because white people just, I guess they have lots of money or something. They would just pull the money out and pay me, and they were so happy to pay me, and I loved it. It was a perfect relationship. So here's what I'm saying: is this is when I look back at that experience, this was the origin story in terms of the beginnings of when I started to think like an investor. And also this is the beginning. This is me at 19. This is when I started thinking about or realizing the value of having a level of consciousness that is slightly higher than the people around you. Because I learned, I looked around, I said, okay, I get it. I know why these kids all failing out. They procrastinate. They try to cram, they try to learn a month's worth of stuff in 2 days. Who can do that? That's stressful. So I didn't do that. I would learn stuff in advance, and then what would happen is I would then be able to make money by helping the people who had not prepared. So this leads to little slogans that I give to the kids all the time, like, well, preparation is the key to success. And what I'm really saying when I repeat that to them, preparation is the key to success, I'm really saying make sure you think like an investor, because investors are the people who get ahead. Investing means preparation. So you're investing now, you're sacrificing now so you can have more later on. You got to think ahead. You have to think that way. People that think that way tend to succeed a little bit better in life. So even going back to college, there was just that little nuanced situation where just by me sitting down and going ahead and getting the assignment out of the way, I was able to make a killing from the people who were not conscious of the process. So do you understand why consciousness is so important when it comes to investing? That's like, Warren Buffett has a saying where he literally says that um, investing is just a wealth transfer from impatient people to patient people. It's a transfer from people that believe in instant gratification. They give their money away to people who believe in delayed gratification. That's it. You know, when you rent something because you don't want to make the sacrifice to actually become an owner of something like an apartment, well, the apartment owner, made a conscious decision to own property and build the wealth required to do that, make the down payments and all that, so they could collect money from the renters who are only thinking about the here and now. And it's not just a rich man thing. I know sometimes they teach us like, well, that's what rich white people, they can do it because they gotta. Yeah, they do have a lot of money. They do. It's really, that's just a fact. But I brought one guy in here, Andre C. Hatchett, who talks about how he bought his first house in Brooklyn while he was making $18 an hour. Has anybody ever tried to buy real estate in Brooklyn? And can you imagine buying real estate in Brooklyn when you're making $18 an hour? Now, maybe in today's dollar, and this is like 15 years ago or whatever, so maybe in today's dollars, that might be more like 28 or $30 an hour. But Brooklyn is a hard place to buy real estate. How did he pull that off? Because he had a certain level of financial consciousness, delayed gratification, discipline. How often do we have conversations about discipline? How often do we have conversations about being proactive instead of being reactive? One of the flaws of a certain segment of our culture is that we are trained to be the most reactive people on the planet. Nobody talks about preparation. Nobody talks about learning lessons from the past or mistakes that were made. Even when a celebrity dies from like a drug overdose, and then I say something like, "Well, this is I see all the RIPS and everything else, and I'm the one who says, "Well, maybe this is a lesson that maybe we should stay away from drugs." Oh, you're a hater and you're this and that. No, I actually love you. That's why I'm saying this. I'm saying that we shouldn't keep losing young people to drugs, and but we just it's like a repetitive process, and sometimes we can't even see past next week. So we would rather not be prepared, let something terrible happen, and then feel sorry for ourselves than to watch something terrible happen and say, what can we learn from this so we can avoid this ever happening again? That's the conversation I like to have. That's the conversation. To me, that's the conscious conversation. We always talk about what it means to be conscious, what it means to be woke, and all that. Well, woke, conscious, that just means an awareness. It means learning. It means finding solutions. Are we doing that? I don't know if we always are. So let's go full circle with this on the college conversation. I do not think that all of college is a complete scam. I do think that universities charge way too much money. That's the first thing. And they do milk your family on a very epic level financially. It's kind of crazy. I think that we should really take deep dive looks at the trades and skilled trades. I think that's where a lot of opportunities lie. We miss out on those opportunities. And again, waiting for the public schools to deliver this is probably a failed policy because public schools, for whatever reason, have taken them out. They're not teaching kids skills that will allow them to provide for themselves. So how do they survive? But then beyond the skilled trades, a more important skilled trade, a skilled trade that everybody needs to have, are the basics in terms of learning how to start a business. I would say having the child maybe over time spend 100 hours or so. They're going to spend 1,000 hours learning how to play basketball. Have them spend at least 100 hours learning how to start a business, how to run a company. Buying stock is as easy. I taught you guys how to buy stock last week. We did we did that first share of stock thing. It took 2 hours, and within 2 hours, I was able to give you enough information about stock market investing that you literally could go teach your entire family. You now know more than probably 80-90% of the population. Stock market investing is very easy. I don't know why most people don't understand how to do it. Real estate investing, ownership is better than renting. We know these things. There's a whole world of possibility with real estate, and it's beautiful because you can make money without working. It's really awesome. So I think they can be trained on all these basic skills, and then if they want to go to college, fine, go to college. But if you have these other skills, then you got a plan B. A lot of our kids struggle because they don't have a plan B. I know a lot of people with master's degrees who are stressed out because they don't have a plan B. There is a TED talk I saw. I got to go find this TED talk, but it was a TED talk given by a black woman with an MBA from Harvard. An MBA from Harvard who literally said that she was on welfare. And I'm like, how in the hell do you get an MBA from Harvard and you're on welfare? She said she would go to dinner and she would be scared to death because everybody thought that because she went to Harvard, she could afford this fancy restaurant, and she would literally have like $1.87 in her bank account. How does that happen? And who says that that makes sense? Who in the hell told us that that is logical? There's nothing logical about this. What you're doing is you're following this natural instinct that makes you think that somehow me going to Harvard is going to make my life better, or me going to college is going to. No, you making good decisions is what's going to make your life better. That's what's going to make your life better. So your education, your success financially, it has to be custom made for you. And that's why I meet with you guys every single morning to talk about these things, because I want your awareness to be clear. I want you to see the world for what it is, not what they tell you that it is, and not what you want it to be. I want you to see it for what it is. And the way I see the world, maybe I sound cynical, but the way I see the world is, number one, white folks don't care nothing about me. Number two, a lot of black folks don't care nothing about me. Number three, it is going to be a little harder for me because I'm a black man. But then number four, I have special opportunities because I'm a black man. Number five, things like family and being with my wife and raising the children is more important than any job I could ever have. Number six, corporations, these hoes ain't loyal. These corporations will use you up, chew you up, and spit you out. Number seven, we make the crazy mistake where people will sacrifice their whole lives, their personal lives, and everything else, won't even have a relationship because they're so loyal to a freaking job, which is crazy to me because that job that is not even yours. Like it's like the gangbanger who says, "I'll die for my block," and you're a renter on a block that you're willing to die on. There's nothing logical about that. So to me, when you're that person who gives up everything for a job, I think you got to really question that. Like, does this job love me the way I love it? And are they as loyal to me as I am to them? And the answer is obviously no. And then there's more and more stuff out there that I could just point to in terms of things that, in my view, are just straight out facts. That I think we have to consciously look at those things so we can just address things from an honest perspective and make good decisions for ourselves. So if you got that child and you're getting them ready for the next level, we got two of them that are going to be in college in the next couple years. We got one in college right now. The number one conversation I have with them is, look, jobs are out there. You can go get a job if you want to. I don't think that's the best way to live or the best way to make money. I can show you 1,000 different ways to make money whenever you're ready. When you want to have that conversation, come talk to me. Also, we don't have any illusions about things like fairness and equity. I said, look, life ain't fair. People aren't going to like you sometimes. Maybe they won't like you because you're black. Maybe they won't like you because you're tall. Doesn't matter. What matters is that you love yourself. Getting white folks to like you is the weirdest thing in the world to me, because I'm sitting here thinking, how does my life improve because white guys like me or white women like me? It doesn't make a difference. And what I find really fascinating is, I don't think that they care if I like them. They just really don't care. So I don't understand that obsession with us just saying, well he's racist. He doesn't like black people. So what? So what? The whole world is pretty racist. You do know that if I go to Taiwan, the Taiwanese don't even like the Chinese. The Chinese don't like the Arabs. The Arabs probably can't stand the Africans. The Africans don't like the Mexicans, right? That's life. Nobody likes anybody. You got to love yourself. You got to love your group. Who is your group? Who are the people that care about you and want you to do well? It ain't Mr. Charlie. Massa don't care if you do well. Who is it going to be? Maybe it's that woman next to you. Maybe it's those children that you gave birth to. Maybe it's your parents that are supposed to love you. Maybe it's the friends that you make, the people that you work with and that you're in the struggle with. I think that support means a whole lot more than somebody in some other space, in some other community where you're looking for love in all the wrong places. So I'm saying, don't be desperate. And I think a lot of success, a lot of our finding our black magic really comes down to self-esteem. If you really meditate on and remind yourself of how much gold is buried in your backyard. If you really sit down and really think about just how much secret sauce you got, how much juice you have, how great you are, how extraordinary you can be, the talented people that are around you. Just literally, for example, when you come to the All Black National Convention, you can't tell me that's not the most extraordinary, think tank on the planet for intelligent black people who care about the community. You will find no place on the planet where you have that many black people together who ain't scared of white folks, ain't scared of ignorant black folks, and who are ready to do the work, who are ready to get to be down for whatever, who are prepared to succeed. You won't find any place on the planet that extraordinary than what you'll find right there. So in my mind, when I'm sitting in that space, there is no other space I want to be. There's no other space that I need to be. There's no other space more valuable than the space where I'm surrounded by the people that are really going to help us get this thing done and have the ability to do that. And not just the ability, but the desire. Because a lot of people have the ability to do things, but that don't mean they want to do it. So when you have that in your life, cherish that, value that. Pour into the people that pour into you. You know, like children are the best, man. My little brother, I told you that story about how I raised my brother almost like a second dad because he's 12 years younger than me. I used to change that little Negro's diapers when he was a baby, and I hated it. Those diapers were stinky. He would wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't go out and play with my friends. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But years later, that bond we formed from spending literally every waking hour together 5 6 days a week, oh, that paid off big time. Because when it came time for me to start my business and I had no help, guess who showed up to help me? Guess who had my back no matter what? Guess who stuck with me even when we were so broke that I had to give my truck back because I couldn't afford the payments anymore? He stuck by me. You know, ain't nobody else gonna stick by. Ain't no. I don't even think. I know a lot of women who wouldn't have stuck by me with that, but my brother did. So you got to pour into people that are going to pour into you. Don't pour into people that don't care about you. Don't give your money to people who don't love you back. You support the people that get what you're doing and love who you are and want to make sure that you do well. That to me is connected to self-esteem. So you won't ever see me run around here chasing around white folks because I don't have any illusions about racism, but I will chase around the people that have shown love for me. Like I'm gonna chase you. I love you, Amari, and everybody else is sitting here, and Errol, and all of you. That's who I love. Okay. So anyway, I'm done. Let me stop talking today. It's time for us to bounce out of here. Quick reminders: tonight we meet for Powernomics training, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We do that every Wednesday. If you would like to participate, just text the word greatness to 87948. Text greatness to 87948. If you'd like the recording from the event that we did on for stock market investing for beginners, I will put the link right here in the chat if you'd like to go access the recording. All the materials are yours for life. You can keep them, you can share them with your family or whatever you'd like to do. All the slides and everything will be in there. Actually, you know what? I can't open up this chat button because this thing is acting weird. So what I'm gonna do is I will text it out to you if you guys would like to get the recording. Actually, okay, here we go. There we go. Let me put that in there. There we go. All right. And also, last but not least, if you want to learn more about the convention is called the All Black National Convention. It's going to be October 25th through the 27th in Lombard, Illinois, right outside of Chicago. And like I said, when it's time to select speakers and panelists, I will let you all apply first. If you guys want to be on a panel, there won't be as many panels as before. We decided to condense it, make it a little bit tighter, and so we may not be able to pick you, but we will give you guys the first opportunity to apply because we want to pour into you the same way you pour into us. So have a good day, everybody. God bless you. And oh, by the way, we have a new apparel line, like a Black Wealth apparel line. If you go to drboycebooks.com, you can take a look at that. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. There's a lot of stuff there for you. All right, have a good day, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye bye.